Child of the Mersey by Annie Groves. Narrated by Noreen Leighton. Prologue. September 1930. Ma'am? 11-year-old Kitty Callahan edged further into her mother's bedroom. Unusually, the clean but faded curtains were not yet open. And in the dim light, Kitty could just make out her mother lying on the bed. Ellen's head was to one side, as if looking down at something, and a small, barely perceptible sound was coming from her direction. It had gone noon, but there was no dinner ready. When Kitty and her brothers, 15-year-old Jack and 10-year-old Danny, came home from school and the shipyard, there was always something hot to eat, even in the summer. Kitty did not know where her dad was. Maybe he was out looking for work, if he'd not got a start on the dock that morning. Ma'am? Ma'am, are you all right? Are you sick? Rising panic caught Kitty's throat as she inched towards the bed. When her mother did not answer, fear made Kitty's heart beat faster. If she opened the curtains, Mam would wake with a fright, which Kitty knew would make her cross. But Kitty could not see properly in this gloom. Her attention struck by an unfamiliar sound. She made up her mind. Unhooking the wire that threaded through the top hem, Kitty drew back the faded curtains. They slipped along the wire with ease, and then she placed the wire back onto the nail, so they did not sag in the middle. Her mam liked everything tidy, and said saggy curtains had a poverty-stricken look about them. "I'll get you a nice cup of tea, ma'am," Kitty said brightly. "I'll take the afternoon off school to help you out with the baking, if you're not feeling up to it." Her mother was not the strongest of women, Kitty knew, even though she was always on the go, taking care of everyone, especially Dad. It would be nice for her to have a day in bed. She deserved a bit of peace and quiet. Only this morning she said her legs felt like they did not belong to her. Kitty had laughed and wondered to whom the legs did belong. Her mam said some funny things sometimes. "Let me wait on you for a change, ma'am. I'll fetch you that nice, hot cup of tea," Kitty said. "You'd like that, wouldn't you, ma'am?" Turning, Kitty looked again towards the bed, not used to seeing her mother lying down, doing nothing. Usually she was scrubbing out, or more often making bread and cakes to sell, just to keep body and soul together when Dad was out of work. A chill came over Kitty, and almost without realizing it, she found herself inching closer towards the bed, almost drawn by an invisible force. Moving slowly, her eyes took in the motionless shape of her mother, the blood-stained bed a deep crimson, and her mother's hand that cradled a quietly mewling bundle, itself huddled into her mother's still form. "Ma'am?" Kitty's voice wavered. "I'm here. It's going to be all right. I'll get you help." Kitty saw her mam's half-opened eyes fixed on the newborn baby in the crook of her arm. Quickly now, she moved towards the infant. Its tiny mouth was puckered, searching for sustenance. Kitty reached towards her mother's hand, taking it in her own. She let out a small cry of shock. Her mother's hand was as cold as a stone. The dawning realization that her new sibling's quest was futile was starting to overwhelm her, and she dropped her mother's hand, unable to bear the coldness from a hand that had once been so warm. The hand that had stroked her with such tenderness, that had held her own reassuringly thousands of times. The motion seemed to distress the child further, and even in her fear, Kitty still took in the fact that
Sample complete. Ready to continue?